Today is the day. So welcome back to Horticulture Geek. I'm Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today is the day. I am going to be switching out my last 3 pots, the metal pots. They are full of pansies. They did wonderful all winter long. These were planted last fall and they stayed out here all winter long, all through the spring. I mean, you can see they are still providing so much color, but they are leggy. It is getting hot. They are not going to last much longer. And the stuff I have to go in these pots has been purchased for a couple of weeks now, and it's time to do the swap. Today's the day. So I'm going to turn this camera around and show you what we're working with. So here they are. These are galvanized containers, round. They're 3 different sizes. I absolutely love them. They've got the copper solder on them for just a little extra pop. And I picked these up at Pottery Barn on a clearance rack. As you all know, if you follow my channel, we don't pay full price for things. These were on a clearance rack for a huge discount. They were ready to get them out of the store, and so they came home with me. But as you can see, these pansies are absolutely getting leggy. Now, if you don't know what that means this. So while that flower there is beautiful, the plant, as you can see, is way down here. A pansy stem should not be that long. And so that's what's called is getting leggy. The plant is stretching out legs, basically. That's what that term kind of comes from. And you can see all over here how this is just stretching out. And that is the term leggy. And so while the flowers still provide a huge pop of color, it's kind of just looking like a weedy mess. And like I said, the stuff that I've bought to go in these containers have got to go in them. They've got to get out of their nursery containers, and they've got to start setting their roots in here. So today's the day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick these up. I'm gonna haul them over to my work area, and we're gonna clean them out and plant them up. So let's get going. Alright, so here we are. I've got the 3 containers, and I mean, look at these. They're so pretty. I hate to rip them out, but it's time. So, clean these containers out. I've got a trash can right here. Okay, now I'm leaving some soil, I don't know if you can see that or not, in here. I'm not completely emptying these out because pansy roots do not go very deep, and winter crops don't grow as much. They don't take as much stuff out of the soil as your spring and summer crops. So the bottom half of soil in each container should still be pretty good. And with the fresh soil that I add in, I'm gonna add in nutrients. So I'm only gonna take about half the old soil out and make sure all the roots are cleaned out. I'm gonna do that, put you on fast forward mode. All right, I'm gonna cut in right here because some of you are probably thinking, you just told us you were going to only take out half of the soil, that it should be good, and then you dump the whole thing out and wash the pot. Well, there's a good reason for that. When I was pulling those old pansies out, I found an ant colony in that pot. And so in a situation like that where you have pests or fungus or viruses or something going on, you've got to empty the whole pot. The only way to get rid of it was to empty all the dirt out. I took the pot over, I hosed it out, got all the remnants and ants, everything's washed out. So now then, when I put fresh soil in, I'm not putting fresh soil in on top of an existing problem. So unfortunately for that pot, the whole shebang had to go, and I'm gonna have to fill it up completely. But that's okay, it's better to do that than struggle with it all season long trying to deal with the ants that are in there eating the roots out of the plants or whatever they're doing. They're not really eating the roots, but they're burrowing through there. They just had to go. So that's why that did that, and now I'm going to get back to cleaning out this last pot. All right, so I've got my plants here, and I'm going to fill my pots. There is just a random assortment of stuff here. I very much just picked out things that looked good, and I'm just gonna plop them in these containers. I'm not going for any specific colors or any specific designs or patterns. I just want, these three containers will sit next to each other, and so I just wanted fun stuff that would flower and be pretty and just a jumble of goodness. So I'm gonna try to figure this out with what I've got, and I may wind up needing to go pick up one or two more things, but we'll see. But I'm gonna still try to do my rule for containers, which is a thriller, a spiller, and a filler. So I need something that will get big and be my thriller. I need something that will kind of hang out mid-level and be a filler, and I need something that will spill over the edges for interest. So if you've never done a container before, that is your rule of thumb: a thriller, a filler, and a spiller. So I'm going to try to do that and lay out the plants I have. So let me walk through the plants that I have right here. I've got a mandevilla. That will be a thriller. I've got a lemongrass. That will be a thriller. And I have a Vermillionaire Kufia, which will be a thriller because it will get a little bit larger and it puts those wonderful blooms all over it. And those tubular shaped blooms do attract hummingbirds. So if you want hummingbirds in your yard, get a Vermillionaire Kufia. All right, for my spillers, I have Verbena. So here is the Voodoo Star Verbena. So it will go in a container. I have the Superbena Royale, which is a purple Verbena. And I have the, a moth or grasshopper one, the Merlot Verbena. So let's put that, and that. Then I have a eucalyptus, so I'm going to put him in the big pot. And I have these, like I said, these plants have been sitting here for a minute because I bought them while I could get them. So they need a little grooming, but that's okay. They will bounce back. Once they get their feet into some good nutrient-rich soil, they'll be fine. And what you saw me sprinkle in a minute ago with that little scoop was slow-release fertilizer. So in addition to the biotone, which helps jumpstart the roots, I also went ahead and put a little extra fertilizer in there to get the tops looking good too. I wish you could smell this plant right now. So good. Hold that thought. Okay, I wanted to grab the tag. So if you can see that, this is a heliotrope. Wonderful plant. It's great for baskets and containers. It can also go in the garden, and it has the most fragrant, wonderful, sweet smell. It's kind of like a lilac and a rose, almost mixed together to me. Really nice, love it. And I think he is going to go in with the Kufia as well. And then my last plant that I have is the Night Sky Petunia. So nice, and I think it will go in here. So this is the arrangement that I have thus far. And like I said, I'm going to just kind of pot these up and see if I think I need to add anything. I think they're going to be okay because these plants will fill out and look really good. But I may wind up later on, not in this video, but I may wind up throwing one or two more things in. But for now, there's nothing to do but to get them planted. So here we go. Now, I'm going to pause back in here. You've seen me do this in some of my other videos, but I've never really explained it. But if you are a new gardener and you won't remember how to take care of these things, or maybe if you're like me and you're just forgetful because you plant so much, I always take my tags. So for all my plants that are going in this pot, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to slide them right in the back of the container there. You won't be able to see them, they're hidden. But if I ever run into a situation where something's not looking good and I want to refer to a tag, or if somebody's coming over to visit the garden and they're like, oh my gosh, what variety is that? And I'm just like, oh, I've got 5 different verbenas planted, which one is that, and you just don't remember, you can just pop the tags out, show them the tag, the information is there. So it's always handy to keep those tags tucked in, hidden, where they're not obtrusive, they're not bothering you, but the information is there. Now this is a good example of a plant that really needs grooming. And even though there are some flowers on there that still look good, I'm actually gonna go ahead and take all the flowers off of this. And what that's gonna do is it's really gonna force those roots to be the focus of the plant for a few days. And then it will absolutely reflush and recover itself in a bunch of brand new fresh blooms. So it won't look bright and pretty for a day or two, but that's okay. The end result is well worth it. right, I've got them planted up, I've got them watered in, and now I just got to put them in their spot. Here we go. So here they are, living in their new home, right out at the pool step in full bright sun, which every single one of these plants will enjoy. So I know it doesn't look like much right now because I did have to prune up and clean up several of those plants, but here in just a few weeks, I promise you this is going to be full and beautiful, and I'll give you an update at that point. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed that video. I tried to give you some tips and techniques there, especially for you new gardeners. If you found my channel and you're wondering how to do containers, you know, there really doesn't have to be a rule as to what plants you put in containers. If it looks good to you, go for it. Like, that's obviously a very freestyle. I just plugged and chugged things in there that looked good to me. I know some people like to have matchy containers, and they would have absolutely done the exact same plants in all 3 pots, and that's perfectly fine. It's whatever aesthetic you like. Just remember that the good rule of thumb to have a beautiful pot is your thriller, your filler, and your spiller. As long as you have those layers, and as long as you put good stuff in the soil to support those plants, your containers are going to be great. You have to remember to water them, because that little pot isn't gonna water itself, right? So if you have a drip system or an irrigation system, hook them up. In my situation there, I would have to run an ugly drip line across my concrete patio. It would be a trip hazard. So I can't hook those up onto drip, that's fine. I'll just water them every day with the hose pipe, and it is an everyday obligation. So that particular placement may not work well for everybody, but those pots will look as equally as gorgeous in a flower bed where a drip line could be run to them, or wherever you want to put them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that it has inspired you to get out and do your own gardening, do your own containers. I promise you it's worth it when you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor and you have your own paradise at home that you can relax in. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you think something in here is awesome that somebody else will need to know, hit that share button, share it, and say, hey, check out this guy. He'll show you how to plant up a container. I would certainly appreciate it. But until next time, guys, from my garden to yours, I wish you all the best and happy gardening.